Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. This is the first episode of Starseed EDU. I'm super excited to have this guest on, and I was just hooked on his videos from when I was introduced to him through another mystic. And just a brief background, just to give you an introduction, my name's Stuart. I'm the co-founder of Starseed Adventures and EDU, and everything we do is to obviously awaken the masses with working with talented people like this. And this is Ivan Teller, who's come to join me tonight. How are you doing, Ivan?
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No worries, mate. No worries. Yeah, well, today I thought it would be amazing to have the intention to connect with some of the feline beings in Sirius, which we share so much with, energetically as well, and obviously from our ancient lineage in ancient Egypt and so on. So that's going to be awesome. People's minds are going to be blown by this. I don't want to jinx it too much, but they're interesting beings. And before we dive into this, I just wanted to talk about some of Ivan's work, which everyone should follow because we won't have a chance after the channel session. So yeah, Ivan, what's going on with you? And is there anything you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm doing working on, I do channelings weekly. I do every day. Then I do channelings for like the Patreon for it goes into a movie. Like I just edited the one from August, and this is now December, so I'm a little bit behind on putting this stuff out. So that's a little bit more because YouTube got kind of strange. It's like I don't know if they're gonna accept it or not. So you can upload more. So I started doing these little 10-minute channelings when I have time. I used to do writing. Like I write a book or channeled book, but see, I'm in this room all the time where I can't go anywhere like I used to. I need some kind of change of environment. So normally I would just do a channel. I would go to Starbucks or somewhere. And it just a nice, or go to Orlando and just write on my laptop.
And I love your Patreon. I joined about 2 weeks ago, and it's just it's kind of cool. It's like 10-minute videos of blogs and just your thoughts, because like it's so cool watching you channel all these different beings from across the solar system and the universe. It's mind like it's like it's incredible because I know quite a few channels, and a lot of people channel in different ways. Some people get visuals, whereas you kind of get out the way. And I was wondering if you could tell us more about that, like because I envisage like beings almost at like a bus stop waiting to have their turn.
Well, I'm doing like experimental. This goes into what would go into the books. So and eventually it will where I can get out of this place. But the beings, it's most like I would say it's like an astral. So I connect to their energies. I just choose what I want to connect with. Like before I do a live video, I just seek out what like the tigers have been coming to me, the Syrians, Anunnaki. I've been doing Anunnaki got a lot of people's attention because I did a healing exercise with another healer. They saw me as Anunnaki. So it's like, okay, let me dive into that. And the lions, one of the healing sessions I did as the first day, this is back in probably August or further than that. I saw myself as a lion.
Yeah. I remember you said
that. Yeah. So that's why I've been using the lion pictures and my stuff. And
I can see that. I think, like I completely forgot to mention this. You and I did a private session like a week ago, and I'd highly recommend it. I've done quite a few sessions with all sorts of people finding out about my star origins, which was mind blowing. But with you, it was like, I asked to speak to the Hathors. I don't know if you remember the Hathors and Isis, because I was fascinated in ancient Egypt, like many people are. And we didn't just go into ancient Egypt, let me tell you. I found out, I won't go too much into it because this isn't about me, but I mean, you were telling me about how as a 13-foot, feline being in ancient Egypt, lives in Lemuria and Atlantis, and other lives in Egypt to do with the pharaohs. So you know, that's all good and well, but the thing that you bring as well is you tell people a bit about their past lives, and we live it in a time looped existence in a way, which is what we're experiencing, which you talk about from Atlantis, you know, with that sort of war, rape, and, you know, horrible things which will go away, you know. And on a personal level, people fall into the same traps, don't they? You know, we're doing the same sort of things. And I found out some hilarious, my jaw was on the floor, man. It was great. So I look forward to doing another one with you.
Yeah. Not always easy for people to be open also. You know, for a person to be open to anything helps.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that. Where information comes through. It's like, I want to know about myself, but yeah, but are you really ready for it? Because I can feel a lot of blocks when people want to know stuff.
Really?
Oh, it happens all the time. But majority of channeling is blockages. It's like I feel the block.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, you might want to know this, but no, you can't know. You gotta figure things out yourself.
And I think that's something I was talking about with you in the afterwards. I was like, you know, some people really want to know, from what I see with your webinars as well, which are so useful. I'd highly recommend people check those out too. You know, people want to know about, okay, message from my guides, which is great. You introduced me to my guides, which, you know, I'm grateful for. And then it's also that people want to know about the future all the time, especially in this, you know, crazy crisis of all sorts going on. And sometimes, you know, I said to the hostess, it's good not to know too much, you know, but I did get some amazing intel from them, you know, which I'm thankful to you, with like which films to focus on, you know, for awakening people and stuff. So it's super useful for career stuff, whatever it is, you know? Yeah. And that's the thing, like, that's why I was so impressed, because, you know, I just read, you know, everyone has their own books that they're into. I just read channel books, whether it's Law of One, Return of the Bird Tribes, all these things, a lot of them with the Blue Avians. And then you have people like Kaya Ra, who do all the Ascended Masters, the Divine Feminine ones, which I recommend to everyone. And some of them can channel at will, and some of them have to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I broke up just a little bit there.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll repeat. So some people basically can channel at will. Some people have to like have everything in place. They have to have a certain diet, from what I understand, with some of the people channeling the Law of One, and they had to even have a compass out, you know, which is crazy. Whereas my man Ivan just turns up and goes.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, you want to keep your. I mean, yeah, you just. I've been doing this on other worlds too. Apparently, before this, this is not my first rodeo. Apparently,
Nice.
I felt reptilian worlds I've done this on, which is the one I remember.
That was some of those episodes you did in the reptilians and the Draco were fascinating as well. And it was kind of like British humor, like dry wit, like, you know, people just don't understand us. They think we're beautiful in our own way. And it's like, really? You know? I don't know.
True.
Fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, I have so much respect for you taking that on as well. Because whenever you do an episode, you're like,
yeah, because sometimes you just, because you feel the ego from someone. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So you want to get to Sirius?
Let's do it, mate.
Feelings of Sirius? Okay. All right. All right. So what we do is connect to us, you know, for our highest good. I put the intentions out there. I don't always say it verbally, but you get an idea of how it works. So
yeah.
So all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings.
Greetings.
We are from Sirius. There are a few lines. Greetings.
Greetings.
We are the Tigers. Greetings to you.
Greetings. Thank you for joining.
Yes. Thank you for welcoming us.
Always. I'm really looking forward to chatting with you and, you know, broadcasting this to anyone who's open to this sort of stuff as well. So thank you for joining us. And I was wondering if we could start off by talking about just a bit about your past in Sirius, because it seems like there's so many similarities between Sirius and Earth.
Yeah, society is more open, where we can speak our mind, but not all worlds are similar, of course. Your world took on a lot of Arabic energies, knowledge, for the better, actually. A lot of Arab Syrian worlds can bring in math, science, which is also Anunnaki connected. So Syrians, we have worlds that are similar to yours as for seed planets, where any alien being can seed its knowledge. A lot of those worlds don't have a lot there, meaning species. They're not that busy. They don't have a lot of beings on there. Yes, you put their knowledge there. There's still a lot, it's like a refugee worlds where it's just they're trying things out like experimental worlds. In my planet, yes, we are more open where we have philosophies. Realize we are a collective that's speaking at this time. We have philosophies that are similar to yours, well, less controlled, of course. Of us to what can we learn from each other? We're not diving deep into each other. What families do that, though. Your world, families could maybe dive too deep when they don't understand each other. The idea is for families to understand each other, for you to grow. Of course, there's going to be hostility. Sometimes you're connected to families that you're going to get along with, but you get the philosophy to understand that. You get the assistance to understand why you're a family that doesn't understand you. In this world, it's not that easy. Some might find out in their 30s.
Yeah, it's interesting because tigers on this planet, obviously they operate very differently here compared to you, Sirius, but they're very solitary, independent animals. Yeah, in Sirius, you're a collective consciousness who still have your individuality.
Yes, we do have family structures similar to yours. Not exactly, of course, but we do. It's very similar to Earth, where we just have families. We congregate with each other. We go and do our own thing also. When we get to a certain age. But yeah, the whole idea is traveling to new places. Where can you go to expand yourself? That's part of it also. It's just a family on your world, as you know, souls who get stagnated or slow down, which is opposite of ours. But some of our realities, our world can be vicious. Like there are places that are very difficult also, but it's not all that way. We can still have an understanding of each other.
Yeah. And I was going to say as well, especially with, I'm sure you've been seeing everything that's going on Earth, which is just chaos, which we are going to get through this. I see, obviously, looking beyond the veil and the matrix of Gaia, of Earth, and you see what the reptilians and the shadow government and even the inner Earth beings are doing, certain inner Earth beings. How is that similar to your evolution on Sirius? Did you have an infiltration of that kind?
Not to that degree. We've had Anunnaki that would come and place their ideas on our world, and we would sort it out. We would come. There's control, but not to the degree of yours. It's usually very small. Like some that want to go towards money or some kind of object to use value, but most of the population is free. Some don't want to be free. So we do have a fragment of our population that wants to be under. And it's also understanding how that even works. Some choose to, what kind of lifestyle that is. So, but the freedom isn't always what people want, or beings, I should say. Some beings want to understand what it feels like to be controlled under a regime. It's just we have more of an understanding in your world. Your world is understanding it now. It's just taking the hard way.
Are you? The long way. Is your collective? Are you born with? You understand your soul contract, and you know a bit about your past lives. Okay.
Yes, that's taught at an early age.
Wow. Okay.
Where we have memories. We just remember more when your children are born. Some remember, but for us, we remember, but we don't always understand what we're remembering. That's why family is there to help us understand it.
Okay. Very interesting, because that would help a lot with speeding up the evolution. But I understand, there needs to be that sort of amnesia for us to grow as souls as well. Yeah. And is it really tribal in Sirius as well, with different tribes?
So there's different, just like yours.
Okay.
Some live outside, some live inside, some live in trees.
Really?
Some live off planet. It's whatever. Felines, felines or all of us are like half man, half feline. Or we can just live in a tree. Is no big deal for us. It seems normal.
So cool.
Well accepted. Live in the jungles, things like that.
Yeah. It's almost like how they depict you how felines are depicted in the film Avatar. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're familiar.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
We're familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to it. Some of us are actually more primitive than that, meaning that they just live more of a tribal existence with no technologies. Yes, they have spiritual understanding, and it is similar to that. But that film has technologies from man, but a lot of them keep technologies out of the forest altogether. Just you don't need it. So you can go in there with it, but it's better that you don't, so you can, because when you go into a forest, or a jungle, you're spoken to mentally. Like the tigers can talk to you.
Yeah.
So
that's so interesting.
So they can open up your telepathic abilities. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand some of your race, can shapeshift and have other like gifts as well.
That's mostly used on your world. There are some that do this. They're more magicians. You can say they have tuned their energy to that. Most of us feel like there's no necessarily need for it, but in your world, it's necessary if we visit. If you're going into battle, they use it. And it's usually with shape shifting. Normally, they're hiding something, or they're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
So,
but we us humans, especially the ones who are doing this work, cannot wait, to have some aspects of these gifts as well. But obviously, I understand there's a lot of work that needs to go into them as well, from doing the inner work and obviously working on your chakras. And do you see that changing after this December 21st solstice, when we go through this portal, if you will, on Earth?
Well, it still has, I believe, several years. I mean, 21st, yes, but this year is clearing out, yes, as they call it, belief systems, what you can't do. I mean, what's no longer needed. You're removing what's no longer needed. So bring in what is needed. So it doesn't mean people are going to fly in a couple of years. There's a possibility of that. But more of the idea that it can't happen, I believe it would become more of a discussion. It'll be more, all this will be talked about more. And then that's how you activate oneself.
And I wanted to talk to you about that aspect of, you talked about, battle and warfare. And obviously there's a lot of amazing tiger warriors for people listening, in many different planets. And I was wondering if, we are going through so much, we're going through a spiritual warfare, information warfare, which is linked to psychological warfare, and it's done in the shadows for the majority of it with the actual operations. So what do you see, what's your advice to us? Because some of us feel, we're at home and we know the power of prayer and meditation, which is amazing. But when it comes to your doorstep, with whether it be vaccinations or, government rule, what would you say to us? Is there anything, we could do?
Well, so you're going into an awakening. So of course there are forces like your media to spin your society backwards into a primitive state of mind to keep you under control. So that shows you're going to a major shift. If your media is lying as they are today on a massive scale, they've already been doing it, but now they're really showing it. They're getting desperate. It also shows that they are coming to an exit eventually. Mm-hmm. So the idea is just to know your truth. What you want, what you do not want. Even if people do get a vaccine, I believe some of you have the ability to clear that out of your energy field. If it's absolutely forced on you, you have no choice. We don't believe that's.
Yeah.
There are going to be some cases like that.
Okay. Yeah, because in the UK, there are talks about it, or they've just approved it. So I feel confident in it won't be enforced because the people, as you've seen around the world, are starting to really up the ante, and this is what I'm saying, there is, I feel a lot of the feline energies from, and I think I speak for many people, they feel this sort of warrior-like energy, which is not calling for anyone to be, hostile or to go into combat. But there are many feline energies, so I'm told, that are to do with, seeking wisdom, even leading people, and obviously, fighting as well. So I was wondering if you could talk more about that, the feline energies that we encapsulate as humans.
Yes. So the early felines, even ourselves, are speaking. Mm-hmm. A lot of us do not really connect with technologies. We allow our abilities to transcend our vibration. So we're at telepathy, teleportation. These things that you see in your cartoons is actually very real for many of us. That is at a highest vibration. You can say it's at 12th dimension, but you can also connect to it on a 4th dimensional level. Similar to your avatar, actually, because they were connected to nature, connected to. But we can go, felines can go to now if you have trouble at teleporting, there's always another feline there to help you with it. Doesn't mean you're at a lower vibration. You're still developing it. It's not always necessary for everyone to achieve certain abilities, such as telepathy. There's certain words that need to be said. Sometimes that's all the words you can say. Telepathy, well, I say hi, and that's it. How are you doing? Keep it very simple. So cool. But that is really the growth of our civilization. Now, there are technologies, but we use it as tools. We're not obsessed with it. Or we use our abilities to, sometimes we can't always connect to the frequencies to teleport. We use a machine instead.
Yeah.
But some felines, when they lost their energy, is they want to control others and started using technologies or primary, use that instead of themselves. As you hear about reptilians kind of doing the same thing.
Of course.
Yeah. So they become more reliant on it. And humans are reliant on it too, but that's part of your growth actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting because it's ties in the fine line between technology that improves lives and can be clean energy, can be 3D printed meals, all this amazing stuff, travel, and stargates, which you kind of alluded to saying. But then it goes into the whole AI profit hive mind timeline, so it's kind of hard to manage. So do you see anything that we should be conscious of with that sort of technology?
Well, yes, work with the tools that you have. Yeah. Many of you, there will be a time when you put the technology away and develop your abilities. Right now, you can notice how technology is being used on humanity as this is all you have. Like this is a car is all you need. You're not taught that you can use other abilities, means of putting aside technology and just focus on your own abilities. It will take some time, of course.
Yeah.
But you can do it even from a younger age, which is easier at a younger age. That becomes part, and you can still have technology all you want.
Yeah.
But you also have the choice to I'm just going to develop myself. So like a child can be, you can do your own abilities basically.
But can friends, if you behave, this is goes into that whole biblical saying, or I think it was one of the Greek philosophers said that if you behave like a child or unleash the inner child, you can achieve a lot more. I do understand that children, obviously, because their brains and their neurochemistry is still developing. And is there anything to do with like our DNA. So like the divine genomes that we have and our car body, our energetic body, is that going to be changing rapidly over the next, few years?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with the food sources that's going on right now. As humans, will probably leave food over time. You need less of it, probably more vegetarian as you feel more.
That's what I am.
Apples and things. Yeah, that energy will become stronger. But some still will need meat, and they're what they need. Some need that grounding energy. So there's still going to be that. We want to also add for like children that are growing up with like they have a choice. You can learn your own abilities without technologies, or if you feel like you do need technology, that's okay too. And you can actually use that in a positive way. Now, when it's forced on you, here you got to stare at this tablet all day.
Yeah,
that's when darkness can be born.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's just letting the child decide what's right. And yeah, as you get older, things get lighter. And your DNA, the world's DNA, yeah, there's going to be a battle of the DNA. Yes. Well, first off, the philosophies have to change. First off, to recognize who even thinks about DNA anyway.
Yeah, the junk DNA.
Well, you can also activate that. It's not junk at all, as you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, many of you are like the forefathers, the founders of the new Earth.
Yeah.
And you might seem crazy right now for society, but what are they? Look at the rest of the world where it's going. It's kind of losing itself.
Yeah.
But it shows a new philosophy is coming in. And not here to preach anything. You're here to just, show there's another side of reality.
Yeah. I think you're right as well. It's really people take notice of when you remove blockages, of when you get a transmission from different beings, or you just do your own, inner work. All is essential. But I feel like that's the best way to lead, because you can talk to people about all this stuff, but it's the ego and the practical, the logical mind that is the burden, isn't it? It kind of keeps them in this state. Yeah.
That's where celebrities come in. Yep. And films and those type of things too.
Yeah.
People have been grow up in that energy. So of course they're going to follow it wherever it goes. It's not going to work for everyone, but those that like actors, for example, show a different type of life, talking to aliens and all of these things. And others will decide for themselves if that's right for them. So that person's lost their mind, whatever it might be, you've already had that for them some. But that's one way, because even entertainment is like a parent in some ways. Not necessarily a bad thing, because it's there to, show you the multiverse.
Stifles imagination, though, would you not say?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a teacher. Teachers can be positive in all kinds of things. So, yeah, you can learn all kinds. And it's like a teacher, basically.
It really is. I mean, I work in the industry, and, I want to make documentaries and based feature films and stuff off real people who have gone through these, galactical journeys. And I feel like that bridges it slightly, but it's still, it's a battle for people to come on. But I guess they're on their own journey, so you've got to be patient with that.
Well, and also they want to see it. They want to see these reptilians I've been talking about. Even your David Icke has agreed the same thing. I believe even your David Icke would like them to see a reptilian being himself. But obviously that's kind of the con job, is of course they don't want to be seen.
Yep.
But people are believing in themselves of what the reality is. And that's very important.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to, it would be nice to see it. That would help. And that is coming. It's just to understand these beings, a feline being, a reptilian being, that would cause chaos on there. We have chaos now.
You're absolutely, and I think you talked about it with Ivan on a previous episode, that there is a version of Earth that got too much disclosure too soon.
Yes.
It just went south, like really bad.
Yeah, there's many places there's many worlds actually like that.
Yeah, I can imagine, even though there's people awakening left, right, and center from various different reasons, this is the best way. And it's also for people like myself, and I'm sure loads of people watching, we want to reconnect with you,
Yes,
because some of you are a star family, or we've shared lives, we
mm-hmm.
have that feeling. So we want it now,
Well, as us, we can see as you so like we do arrive in the physical, you see more about yourself.
Yeah.
In that connection. And that's another reason why we have not appeared.
Yeah.
Is because you like automatically know you, which is good, but it's not always times for that.
I am that I am. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
You still have the
I never thought about it that way, because in ancient times, you see a lot of people bowing down, obviously, to the felines, to, Ra, to many different beings, Quetzalcoatl, through the ages.
Yeah.
But this time is different, I feel.
Yes, it's the next generation of it. It's remembering. Back then, humans, of course, they worship. They would thank the gods for water, understanding themselves, why they are there. A lot of them had an understanding, not everyone. But a lot of them had more understanding who they are.
So. Yeah, fascinating. And I'm sure that there's certain things that are written in the stars, so to speak, with temporal markers, you could say, which you'll understand very well. And then there are some things like the election and all that stuff, which we won't go into, but is veiled, so it's impossible to know. But I still feel positive. I mean, astrologically speaking, I'm still learning about it. It seems like a true science, and you can see that with all these behaviors and these characters of the planets, it's all about awakening, with Jupiter, Pluto, with everything going on. So that's just my personal belief. I see things very positively for the next 4 years. So that's good. But yeah, I was going to say, could you talk to us more about the hybrid children that will come in? Because that seems like the most logical, types of beings to introduce us to at first.
Well, yes, they're currently here already.
Yeah.
They're the ones that become more aware of their star patterns, their star beings. Some of them even might change color.
Really?
They like blue, a green kid.
Oh, green man.
Not quite there yet. A green kid might scare people, but of course a blue child would too. But there is there's going to be a time where, because the energy of the chakras become more active, more alive.
Wow.
A lot of your early cats were blue.
Wow.
In the early stages of your Earth.
So that's why they're depicted like that in Egypt as well.
Yeah, even your avatar. Blue is the energy of the chakras. It's just the energy of light. It's another version of light.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing I've been hearing about the chakras. Obviously, we're going into a more crystalline grid, from what I understand. So, how does that affect the chakras? Do they become, I've heard word that they won't be as needed as much. I disagree, but
I think they're going to be more active. The chakras are always going to be just more alive. That's how people fly. This is how people do telepathy. Your chakras become more active.
Yep.
They're within everything, every being. When you do telekinesis, you connect to the chakras of a stone or what you like to move.
Wow, I cannot wait for that. But obviously it requires, are there any meditations or any visualizations you can recommend for clearing out chakras that you personally have used as a collective?
Well, you realize, yes, you see your visualize. You don't have to visualize it perfectly. Your chakras is fully active, like suns. All of them, like just very vibrant colors, as bright as you wanted to make them. You can concentrate on one chakra, like your heart chakra, just allows greens to come through. It might even change color on you.
Wow.
But it shows that you're bringing a new shift energy to it.
Amazing.
So, and some do have blockage. People, I feel like they have, and then people do have blockage. But that's a lot of that's people. That's like children. They want to drive before they can even touch the pedal.
We're always in a rush.
Yes, people are always in a rush, and that's not always the easiest thing to.
I think that's a very important thing you touched on, because even going back to talk about the being called Yeshua, who is obviously, as you know, Jesus, he was very big, even though he had done all that work, from being in wilderness, like you said, being at one with nature, and then doing the work with his chakras and everything else, even though, you know, he was the son of a logos. But he always said, you know, and with his parables and everything in his teachings, not to flaunt your gifts, not to show them as tricks and stuff. So I guess this is a good natural process for people to respect them, their gifts, you know, when they do come. Yeah.
That's another true. Yes. Well, first off, for Yeshua, that was his purpose.
Yeah.
Was to, not everyone has that purpose to come in with power like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is true where some do want to show off.
Yeah.
But that's also a journey too.
Yeah.
As Atlantis had a lot of that. So yeah, that's just. But for him, yeah. But yes, he's saying it. But for him, that worked. But a lot of other beings will say that's boring. I want to show off. That's, I'll pay for it. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. I guess it's you can still have those aspects of, you know, showing, you know, inspiring others with your gifts, but also being humble, you know, which is needed. And I've noticed that a lot with this year, especially. You see people's true nature, you know, because of all this collective distortions, you know, whether it's through the electromagnetic side of things or just the collective fear, you know, you see people's true nature, which is interesting. It makes it easy to find true friends.
Well, also to get information about your world is your Mother Earth. Is if people want things to speed up, talk to her. She is like the den mother of the planet. Like in charge of the orphanage, because you say everybody here is an orphan to a degree.
Yep.
Come from different places. And she has a lot of tricks up her sleeve. She knows where things need to go for growth. People want things. It's like, no, not now. Later. Just does a lot of that.
Right.
So she learned a lot herself.
So. I was wondering, Gaia as well. You know, people are starting to really reconnect with trees and nature. And, you know, for me, I've always needed to work on root chakras and connect with Gaia as well, which is very important. I guess everyone has a different, you know, area of their chakras they need to work on. Talk about a term that was used in Law of One, service to self and service to others. Obviously, we have, you know, the reptilians, the greys, all sorts of beings that choose to be a service to self, and they can ascend through certain planes or densities. With the service to others side, I was wondering if you could talk to us more about really showing oneness with other humans and other beings, but also if they do take advantage, you know where the line is to be direct. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's basically like, when does it come too much, you know, with being holier than thou, with, you know, asking to forgive them? Is there any examples from your planet where, like I said, you get infiltrated, or there's something that, you know, you cannot push away? A good example is the Native Americans, you know, when the Spanish and the British arrived.
Yes. Well, it's, of course, on your world, it's not as that clear and cut and dry of your invaders.
It really isn't. Yeah.
So the idea is to, know yourself, be curious, not be afraid. And these beings will eventually show themselves, either through your Illuminati physical people. Most likely they'll appear first than an alien being. They'll send in their stooges, their
henchmen.
People, yes. So not to be afraid. If you can't handle that, how are you going to handle an alien being to appear?
Very true.
The idea is to keep that neutrality within yourself. And they'll respect that. If you just see them as evil, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you're just there for conversation, you'll get very far. As many want to just have a conversation just to learn, and that's good. They'll really respect that. And then the rest, because people, they're in conspiracy groups, all angry. And that doesn't really get you anywhere. I mean, it might get you a conversation, might get you a date, but in the long run, it doesn't really get you anywhere to solving the problems here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I can totally understand that. I think there's a fine line with taking it too far. And I think every situation is very different, you know, especially here on Earth.
No, there are those that do cause trouble here, yes. And they can take it too far. with human trafficking and all these things.
This is why I bring it up. Yeah, like it's these injustices, which the wheels of justice are so slow here. So I think I can speak on behalf of many people that we want things quicker, at least with justice, and to root out. Yeah.
Who's running the justice?
Yeah, exactly.
The same group.
Yep.
And those that are causing these atrocities, even alien beings, a lot of them die out. A lot of them are like foot soldiers, or like that's their job is to human traffic society, to move it around. And a lot of them, they can only have so long to do it, and then they die, but they carry it out with somebody else. They go clear out their karma on another planet normally. They usually don't come back here. Some can come back here as a slave themselves, depending on what they did.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been told, for a personal question, I think the audience might find this interesting, from another channeler, that I had a life in Sparta, which was obviously a very primal, place in the time, even though they were quite sophisticated with some things, but obviously it was all about combat. I was wondering if you could share anything about that, to do with a past life.
Yes, of course, it was human trafficking back then also. That time you saw that's kind of like a reptilian creation overall, of like even old Atlanteans that became Spartans.
Yep.
So they did believe in magic and superstitions.
Okay.
So that was like a magical tribe where they can win all the wars. I was like, it's one of the last reptilian tribes, actually, of a positive. There was the darkness, but yes, it was to reflect the energy. It was there to rule out criminals, of course, but of course it ran its course as it did. But it was there to keep as much light. They had, they're a product of their time. They had no choice to be that way.
Because they were like the super soldiers of our, of Earth, which there have been many different ones. But how accurate? I'm intrigued. How accurate is the Battle of Thermopylae, which has become a bit of a big thing, in our consciousness, of 300 men fighting a whole Persian army?
I would say it's half accurate. Meaning, they did, they had a wits about them. We remember, these are the super soldiers.
Yeah.
Going against regular soldiers. So yes, it is.
It's not even.
Not everything was written down, but overall, that was a pretty accurate. Let's say 90% or 50%, depending, because not everything's been told about it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But there's more to it. They had abilities that they didn't understand how they were able to do what they can do.
Wow.
So they're like I would even say the last Atlanteans that were, a warrior race basically from the Atlanteans, basically.
Mind blowing. Yeah, I guess history is written by the victors, eh? So yeah.
They did a lot more. It was more. Yeah, it was more. Just a lot was kept away, but a lot of magic was used back then too.
Yeah, and I bet their genetics, if they were a reptilian program or creation in a way, they must. No wonder they were super soldiers.
For what I see, they were able to heal themselves. Maybe not completely, but they can, even if they were, beat up quite a bit, they can still, they had a version of a healing, not completely like rehabilitate a whole arm, but they had a way of healing quickly.
Wow. Jesus. This is why I love talking to you, because we can just get all this true history and interesting information that can help us ascend. And another question as well. We have so much in common with you as felines. A lot of our science, they keep us with Darwinian theory with apes. And obviously we have relation to apes as well on Sirius. I was wondering if you could talk more about that.
But yeah, the Syrian, the apes. They're some of the more headstrong beings out there.
I can imagine.
Felines are kind of stuck in the mud to a degree comparing with beings, but apes can be so controlling. They like things their way. It's almost like an old grandmother, just very tough grandmother, just like, I can take on all these kids. You think you guys are tough? I can beat you up.
So primal, so proud.
Yeah. So apes are, not all apes are like that, but some are. The gorillas are a gorilla. Yeah, they're just warfare. just like the tigers. Yes, we don't get along that well. Well, we do, but they just like things their way.
Yeah.
And that's it. And their societies are controlled. You can say all societies have a certain way of doing it. That's how they learn. But some worlds are a little bit more open than others. Like a Palladian world is very open.
Cool.
Allow anything to happen. That's how they keep it so positive, because the negative people can't handle it so much.
Yeah.
Where the apes do challenge the soul. There are some apes that learn from that. Not all apes get along with each other. But I'll tell you about, and yeah, as we get along, but I'll tell you the felines of your London. A lot of them, yes, you're humanoid.
Yep.
Felines. A lot of them changed their form to be human, but a lot of them became part of the power structure. You can say Roman emperors, things like that.
Right. So like banking, religion sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed their genetics to be more human-like.
Okay.
Which is a little bit strange, but
that is strange.
Yeah. They blended into the human form over time throughout their family lineage.
Yeah.
So even the queen has a lot of feline energies there.
Yeah. Well, she's got the record for most tape people have seen that have written in about seeing her shapeshift.
Yes.
Yeah. And
she can't keep it
no.
She can't keep it stable.
Interesting. I got a story about that, but that's for another time. I was going to ask as well. What was my other question? Oh yeah, this is another. Just because a personal question. Last time I had a session, you were talking about. I was talking about astral projection and how some beings on this earth are amazing at it. And for me, I find it interesting, but I don't have a fascination to do it yet. But you said, the Hathor said that you embody almost like an astral state already with your feline energy. I was wondering if you could talk more about that, because I didn't know what that meant.
Oh yes, we're part of that, meaning that you are a fragment of your astral currently.
Okay.
You're living in a human form, and you're getting astral knowledge right now. You're just not. It's like you're living in a meditation.
Yeah, I can feel it.
And you feel that. So look at it maybe not from an astral point of view, but look at it from a meditation point of view.
Okay.
You're living in that realm. Of course, it depends on not everyone's living in it to a degree, but some of them are more the drama side, that's why they have nightmares.
Yeah.
So healing nightmares isn't the easiest, but it's part of the soul journey. There's no right or wrong way to do anything, really.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
Yeah. But I've had some heavy dreams recently, but that's with the energy and stuff going on as well. I can understand.
Well, that has a lot to do with manifestation, from what we see, planning out where things are going to go in your life.
Interesting. Thank you for that. Gratitude. Yeah. Manifestation's been a big focus with everything, with all the alignments with the planets and everything, and just entering a new age, into the Aquarius. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, I was wondering just a couple more questions before we stop, because we're going a while, but this has been fascinating, finding out about some of our history, some of your history as well. Is there anything else that you think that some of the viewers should know about at this time? Is there anything they should prepare for or focus on right now?
Well, a lot of felines which was erased from history, of course, are Anunnaki beings too.
Yep.
They took the feline form to teach humans of how to be. They can change into a human form, but a lot of them just chose the feline form because the humans knew where to learn from. That's the teacher. Of course, some of the teachers weren't very kind. Some of those are the black cats. Some of the panthers were like,
"Hey, I've got a black cat." The panthers.
So, some of them are like, they don't want to be a teacher. They just you just follow them around then.
Yeah.
So some of them just have a different way. But the feline became more of because in the beginning, felines were teachers, but then a lot of that was wiped away due to Atlantean darkness. So a lot of the new felines came about as long as they were allowed to be here. And humans just wanted to learn more and more, as many of you want to learn. But a lot of the darkness came in where they had to leave.
Yeah.
So they didn't just get up and no being would ever want to just leave. they had no choice.
Mm.
So it has to do with the human experience, what humans need to learn. Because some aliens want to just still, and they are here still, maybe in human form now, through reincarnation. But a lot of alien beings did chose to, basically those like your controllers of your Earth. Some are birds carrying energies. They kind of pushed a lot of the alien energies out of here so humans can develop themselves. Not always for a negative reason. It's just basically now it's time for the humans to raise themselves or develop themselves better.
Interesting, because I was going to ask you about, again, ancient Egypt is the best example of the felines with Sekhmet and a few other beautiful beings. And I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about that. Just with ancient, was it in the golden age of Egypt?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it was before that. Before that. Okay. But even during that time, yes, those are now those could shapeshift into human form.
Yeah.
Basically, for a lot of relationships to continue the human race. So a lot of them helped with just procreation, just to continue, to have children, basically, to help them evolve with it. And yes, of course, there's always been a helping hand of alien technology has always been hidden throughout history. But it's hidden now. But yes, now you have more of an internet and everything, but it's all still been hidden. But yes, alien intervention's always been around forever.
And the capstone, I've got to ask, with the Great Pyramid in Giza, is that a piece of technology that's going to come back online?
Eventually, when it's used properly.
Okay. Yeah.
It was not used properly in its past. But yes.
That's what humans do sometimes. They just exploit the technology.
Well, yes, but you also had help from outside too.
Yep.
From reptilian beings, and
really,
that's the whole point of, as society develops, yes, you'd be working on the pyramids to reactivate them with your own energies. That'd be part of it. Right now, good luck with that. It's controlling. That won't last forever. As humans want to learn more about themselves, learn about help self-improvement, be part of society. And it'll be more exciting than reality right now. It'll be fun, actually. It won't be easy.
Yeah.
But as you more travel into your past lives, alien lives, and just allow all that to open up, no matter what you work, because usually the negative lives will be more interesting for a lot of beings here. It's like, wow, did I really do those things? But you can all learn from it, though.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. From my experience, and I'd encourage everyone, watching this to really dive into past lives and, the shadow self is very important. And that's why, I get a lot of external noise from friends and family, like, come out more, do this. But really, this is a good year for you to just look in the mirror, do work, and to get creative. All these downloads, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's feeling these.
Oh, yes. Many.
Yeah. And it's amazing. And I was going to say as well, there's what you talked about with the negative side, when you find out about twin selves, or, I found out, obviously one of my twin selves was a very, high up there political guy, part of the Majestic program. This all adds almost a bit of an interest into that field. You know what I'm saying? So instead of condemning them, you have a more fuller understanding.
Yes.
Where they came from.
Oh, yes. You say, oh, you had a negative life. Let's not talk about that. Yeah. But actually, that's where all the learning is, really. That those are teachers, basically.
Wow.
And so you don't make the same mistakes. If you keep suppressing darkness, you just repeat it. Or maybe not that person, but other people repeat it.
Yeah.
So you just lay everything out. Like you go to school and develop your psychic abilities, your past lives, future lives, whatever it might be. That's when you really start to open yourselves up. That's what other worlds are doing right now.
Wow.
And that's the gift of this world. Yes, it's difficult. You know what darkness feels here, but that also pushes the light even stronger.
Yeah.
But not to forget the darkness, though. Because that's what happened to a lot of Atlanteans. They forgot the darkness, but then they didn't see it. You just want to be positive, and they don't see the darkness, and that's what takes them over.
Wow. I did not know. I thought they were just way into their intellect, into their mind,
But they did not see the darkness that well either. They just like having a neighbor, or what's called a neighbor. They only saw what they wanted to see. That was not very friendly.
Yeah.
They only saw the good in that person. They're not realize, oh, don't worry about, they're a little bit shady. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And then it's not fine anymore.
No, it's wise words. And it's also your soul, your consciousness expands through stress and, and all this stuff. I felt that, and I think this is it's not for everyone, but plant-based medicines can be amazing for humans because it can shake you out. Even if, I've done ayahuasca. I'm sure many people have done ayahuasca and mushrooms, some of Mother Nature's gifts. And I'm not going to lie, they ground you, but they knock you on your ass. Like I felt the best way to put it was you're facing your shadow self, depending on the journey, which is sometimes needed because people don't want to go into this.
Well, I also want to go into those that are vegetarian and those that are meat eaters. People that have been meat eaters realize they've been also through a lot of stress, no matter what lifetime it was in the past. They're not just ready to let go of that energy just yet. So, and that's what many are vegetarian people go down on meat eaters, and then it goes back and forth, and nothing gets solved. Really.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, I'm a vegan or vegetarian vegan, and even just bringing it up, I like to keep it quiet. People know, and you probably know this. And at a restaurant, I'll get attacked. It can work both ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just like everyone is different. But I guess if you want to get really serious about something, you got to look at the acid and the alkaline side of things putting into your body, which is crucial for ascension, from what I understand.
It's just there's more instead of nitpicking on each other and just allow everyone to be. You can heal the meat eater energy of why it's like, not to say it's a bad thing, but just where is it coming from? Not to say everyone has to be a vegetarian either, because many of you are going to have no food at all. In the future, you don't need it anymore. You just have energy.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's what you're heading towards.
So it's also just such a mental obstacle to overcome, not being able to eat. But that's happening. People are fasting. They're getting aspects. Yeah, I mean, I fast. I've never done a long week fast. But, that's all soul development there.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we close?
Yes. Yes. True. There's always more to the possibilities of where you can expand your consciousness. Is why aliens don't go deeply is because some humans are ready, but those are very few than those are not. They call it entertainment. That's part of life. You're here to change your lives. That's what this is all about. That's why we come through. So we might give a general message because that's not what was necessary at the time. We can also bring in knowledge to change your reality completely. As we have that knowledge, we have not done it yet. They've done gradually, but they can really say one or two words and shift your whole reality.
Wow. Wow. Because I heard about this from an ancient Egyptian word, which if you say it, it just, because was activated, is light code activated, is it?
Yes.
Well, so can you share any right now?
No. Let me see. Just getting from the guides of your earth. Play hard. Just don't feel embarrassed to be yourself. Just continue to explore.
Yeah. Is that a personal message or to humanity?
To you and humanity.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, don't be. Some people are ashamed of this. It's like, and we don't realize many can't say they're spiritual. Understand, but your world's gone through that view. Go through sexual identity. They don't go around telling everyone as they'd like to. So spiritual identity is the same thing.
I think you're 100% right. Me personally, people go through those stages when they're awakening, when they're getting this wisdom and knowledge. And, me personally, I love to talk about it with everyone, but some people obviously are defensive or a bit more aggressive about it, but some people, like you said, like to keep it to themselves. Yeah.
Well, to add a little bit more to that, then we can go. Yeah, not everybody's going to agree with everything.
Yeah.
Spiritually. But at least you're talking. At least you got a conversation.
Absolutely.
So
it's that's the thing. As long as people's egos are good enough to have civil discourse, just chatting, sharing ideas. I have loads of spiritual friends that are into the Gnostic texts, and then, which I think is a lot of hidden wisdom, and they disagree, or they'll think I'm too interested in beings or whatever it is. Everyone comes from a different angle, I guess.
Yes, it's part of the soul growth of the past, where they've grown up with like Gnostic texts. It's just part of their one's growth. It's part of you.
Yeah.
All knowledge is part of you. So.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
all right.
Next time we'll get the words that will awaken the world.
Yes, we'll give you the lottery numbers too.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, of course. My blessings to you.
Blessings. Thank you.
I'll tell you, because I saw my hand turn blue. I had sharp fingernails.
Just now?
Well, I was channeling. Yeah.
No way.
Later. Yeah, that was neat. I don't have that very often. Yeah.
Oh my.
It wasn't like a feline hand. It was like a human hand, but was blue with like sharp nails.
Because it must have been when we brought up shapeshifting and stuff, right?
Probably. Yeah, something like that. It was in the middle of it. Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That must have been crazy.
Well, I've channeled reptilian. In the first day I channeled, I saw my whole arm turn green.
No.
But the reptilians, like that, of course, I keep that being out because that was
like something from that Spider-Man movie. That's crazy.
Yeah.